Hello, Shelley from Spin Cushions here, Crochet Designs by Shelley Husband. Today I'm going to show you how to make this square called Back Betty from my Granny Square Academy. If you're not sure what that is, head to my blog spincushions.com and check for the Granny Square Academy tab. Okay, let's get started. Now the start of this pattern is exactly the same as what we've done for our Solid Sue and Skipping Sarah patterns. So we start with a slip knot, and then a bit of fluff on my yarn, sorry, whoops. Then we're going to chain one, which is where all of our first round stitches are going to be worked into. Chain three, which is pretending to be our first stitch. And then our second stitch, is a real stitch, treble UK, WS in that first chain. Then we're going to chain two. Two more stitches. And chain two. Remember, use stitch markers if you're not sure where to put your hook. So as soon as you do your first chain, poke a stitch marker in it, or when you do your third chain of your starting chain, pop a stitch marker in that if that helps. Or if you have trouble finding corners, put stitch markers in the corners before you start the next round. It can all just help you keep on track when you're learning. And I promise you, keep practicing, you'll soon be dropping all of those extra aids and won't need them at all. Okay, so now we got to the end. I've done 4 lots of 2 stitches. I'm going to chain one and join with a stitch. Double crochet UK turns, single crochet US turns. Just poke your hook in the top of that third chain, loop to the front, yarn over and pull through 2. Okay, it's time to start our next round. We're going to chain 3 to pretend to be our first stitch. We do a stitch over our joining stitch, which is in the big hole between the lots of 2 stitches. Now in this round, we're not actually going to do anything with the stitches on the side. We're just going to chain 2, skip those 2 stitches and go straight to our corner where we'll do 2 stitches, chain 2, 2 stitches, chain 2, 2 stitches, all in the 2 chain space. Okay, so that's our corner done. Then we're going to chain 2, do another corner, chain 2, another corner, chain 2, and finish that one off. I'll show you what happens at the end. Okay, I've gone all the way around. I've chained 2. I just need to finish off the corner I started at the beginning by putting 2 stitches in the same place as our first stitches. Now I'm going to chain 1 and join to the top of that third chain with a stitch. All right, round 3 is where we start to work our back loop only stitches, but we'll start the same way we had before. Chain 3, stitch over the joining stitch. Now it says to do a stitch in the back loop only of the next 2 stitches. Now because the first stitch of the last one was a chain 3 and we just joined to the back loop, just working in there is effectively the same work as working into the back loop. So we just work in there. Now, usually we'd go in here to work our stitch, but for a back loop only, we just take that loop at the back, poke our hook in there and make a stitch. Don't be alarmed when it pulls up a long loop. It'll all get pulled back into shape as we continue on. In our 2 chain space, we're going to do 2 stitches. Then the last 2 stitches of the side, we're going the back loop again. So find that V on top and just poke your hook through the back one. And again, here. And then we're up to our corner. 2 stitches. Chain 2, 2 stitches. Now remember that first one there pulled up a long loop? Look at it now, it's all nice and flat again. So we do that all the way around, remembering that first stitch to the side. If you can't see it, pull your corner stitches aside and you'll pop the stitch you need will appear. I'll do that all the way around and show you how to finish off. Okay, repeats are all done. Just need to finish off that first corner by doing 2 stitches. Then we're going to chain 1 and join with a stitch to the top of our 3rd chain. That's that. Round 4, chain 3, stitch over the joining stitch again. Now we're going to do a stitch in the back loop only of the next 2. Remember that first one is that same back loop we did joined up to of the 3rd chain. 1, 2. And then we're going to chain 1, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and do a stitch in the back loop only of the next 2. So the middle 2 of the side, the ones that were worked into the chain space down below. We're going to chain 1, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2, and we should have 2 stitches left. We do a back loop only, or a stitch in the back loop only of both of those last 2 stitches. Then we do our corner, which is 2 stitches, chain 2, 2 stitches, all in the 2 chain space, which I'm sure you well and truly know how to do by now. So I will make this round all the way around and show you how we do the next one. Okay, all my repeats are done. I just need to do 2 stitches in the same place as our first ones. Chain 1, join with a stitch to our 3rd chain. All right, next round is similar. 1, 2, 3. Start with our chain 3 and a stitch over our joining stitch. And instead of doing a stitch in the back loop only of the next 2 stitches, it's in the back loop only of the next 4 stitches. So we start by that, using that same loop we did to join to for our chain 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then we're up to our 1 chain space. We're going to chain 1, skip that 1 chain space, do a stitch in the back loop only of the next 2. Should all be nicely lined up. Chain 1, skip the 1 chain space, a stitch in the back loop only of the next 4. And our corners are the same again, 2 stitches, chain 2, 2 stitches. And round 6 is exactly the same, except instead of 4 stitches at the start and end, we're going to have 6 stitches at the start and end. So I'm going to go all the way around, finish round 5 and then round up to the end of round 6 and show you how to finish off at the very end. Won't be long. All right, here I am almost at the end of round 6. So I've just done back loop only 6 stitches on each side with the 2 in the middle. Just need to do 2 stitches in the same place as our first stitch. 1, 2, and then I'm going to chain 2 and join with a slip stitch to the top of our 3rd chain, if I can find it. There we go. There we go, all finished. Back Betty. So this is the 3rd part of Granny Square Academy, a 10-part series of patterns that teaches you lots of tricks about crochet that you may not have picked up. So head to my blog, spincushions.com, and check out the Granny Square Academy tab if you want to know more. Or if you're already following along, thank you, and I'll see you soon with the next part.